caterhamracer.com 2024 Caterham Championship is sponsored by 1-to-1 on-track coaching and simulator training with Ryan Hooker, and by DPR Motorsport, your competitive advantage. A very good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 2 of the 2024 Caterham Championships here at caterhamracer.com. Our drivers are out on circuit in their qualifying slot. 15 minutes to get qualified round this Zandvoort circuit. You can see from our view over here, over the sand dunes. And what a spectacular circuit this is. And drivers will be out there for real in just a couple of weekends' time with the Caterham Motorsport season. And so, very good evening, everybody. I'm Chris Hutchinson in the commentary box with you this evening to admire the handiwork of all of our drivers. Like I said, this is the second round of our championship season. We follow and mirror the Caterham Motorsport season as they go round. So we'll be racing between now and October. And let's have a look at where we've been. We went last time out, we were at the Snetterton 300 on the 3rd of April. And it was David Rowe and Andrew Parker taking the honours around on that occasion. We're here for the second round at Zandvoort circuit in Holland. And we'll be back with you next at Silverstone before going to Cadwell, Knockhill, Brands Indy, and then Donington National, as you can see, all the way through to the 2nd of October, where we'll be concluding our season in this championship. So it is a championship, and therefore we are scoring points. And like I said, last time out it was David Rowe and Andrew Parker who won the race 1 and race 2. But Paul Donkin, who we were just watching, just skipped away to see Steve McMaster with a Paul Forsyth just spinning himself into the wall there, but getting back underway again. And Paul Donkin came away with a couple of seconds, and Andrew Parker took a third as well in race 1, as well as Tom McEwing. So those are the drivers sort of in the mix. If you'll excuse the rather rustic graphic, here are the championship standings then after those opening 2 rounds at Snetterton. So Andrew Parker does sit 1 point above Paul Donkin. And then it's David Rowe in 3rd place. Yaroslav Cherney comes home with 4th, equal points with David Rowe. And then it's Sharita and McEwing sharing the points for 5th and 6th. Paul Funnier, Ryan Hooker, Alex Ball, Steve McMaster making up the rest of the top 10. So how are they going to get on tonight? Well, that's what we're going to find out over the course of the next 45-50 minutes or so. Like I say, we've got this qualifying session, which they've got 10 minutes of left before then heading into race 1. And then we will, the finishing order of race 1 then will decide the starting order for race 2. Those 2 races being 15 minutes each. So it's a quick action around this roller coaster of a circuit. Absolutely fantastic place to drive at in real life. Christian Sharita there just starting a brand new lap. So why don't we hop on board with him if I can find him on the list. Here we go. Let's go in car with him and follow him around as he goes around turn 1, which is Tarzan. A hairpin drifting up very wide there. Clearly the circuit is not where he was. We head around the Gerlach box here into the Hugenholz. And it's the newly banked corner, left-hander. Hook it all up on the inside. Make sure you stay within those track limits on the exit. A little bit of nice tarmac there to just rest the wheels on as we head down this roller coaster section. Really flat out in these Caterhams before the daunting Schlievac. And as we head right here, just dropping a gear or 2. Didn't quite hook up with the apex there. We're going to go fast and furiously into Masters. You can see this track never relents. Again, didn't quite hook up with the apex there, but still carrying an awful lot of speed into turn 9. A tight right-hander, really tricky. You can see the rear end of the car stepping out there. That's going to lose him a little bit of time and momentum as he moves into turn 10, which is deceptively long left-hander, almost hairpin, back to head down the hill now into one of the overtaking opportunities. Hanshurst, which is the chicane here at the bottom. So in the race, I expect this to be an overtaking opportunity as we get this really tight 90-degree right-hander into again, almost hairpin left-hander, really stepping out of line there. So Christian not doing a good job of giving our lap. Let's see whether he does to complete it. We've got another car coming up behind us, so we'll let them go as well. And then we shall head round these last couple of corners. This is called Kumo, which normally, if you haven't just spun out, is a very fast right-hander, and then an absolutely flat-out, again, newly banked corner here. Christian taking that wide line to maximise this little downhill stretch, get speed out, and up over the line. He's currently in that second place. That wasn't the lap is going to get him into second place, but he's currently half a second off of Paul Donkin, who is out front. So we'll be expecting to see Christian perform out here tonight on the A grid, which is what we're watching right now. This is yesterday we had pre-qualification where all of our drivers were aiming to see whether they could get onto this A grid. Effectively, the top 18 drivers get to race on A grid, and then we have a following set of drivers who then get allocated to our B grid. So tonight there are 15 drivers on our B grid, and currently I can see that Ryan Wilby and Adam Whitehouse are setting the times out there. Harvey Lawrence was also, we saw him out here on A grid last time. He didn't make it this time, but he was setting the pace in practice sessions. So we'll see. Keep an eye on their race results as well to see whether we can get that underway. Just watching Harry Senior here on our stream. You can see him in his PT Sports car, a grey and red 420R. This is the Caterham 7 Championship UK spec 420R, which Harry Senior took out to a great effect in the Snetterton Real World Motorsport. Really quite absolutely got the grips of the new car straight away and was fighting for the win in the 3 races they had at Snetterton in the real world. So great to see him back out here in the virtual world. He's fighting for the AM Championship in that real world champion. And our current AM champion is Paul Donkin. You can see him here in his DPR Motorsport liveried machine. He was also out there, in fact, getting followed along there by David Rowe. Ever together on the circuit. David Rowe only getting a nice little tow from Paul Donkin as they head round then this opening corner. Tarzan box, this devastatingly fast right-hander. So, yeah, Paul Donkin getting a good set of results also from Stetton as David Rowe clips the inside wall and collects someone else as well. That's going to see them back to the pits. We do run damage on these championship events. I think Paul Donkin's now trying to see whether he can wait for him, but that's not going to work because he is well out of it and he's going to be heading back to the pits. Yep, Donkin, our current AM championship in the real world and also our current reigning champion in the 420R in this virtual world as well. We see him, again, not doing a particularly good job of showing us how we control these virtual cars. Various other people all up and down then. Let's just check in on a few. Richard Watson here. Steve McMaster just diving out his way as he heads on down. He's in the grey car this evening. Hudson Knight as well. We saw him out last time. Unfortunately, I have managed to lose his virtual skin, so he's running around in a yellow car this evening. So if you see an unfamiliar yellow car, that will be Hudson Knight, our youngest driver on our service, and doing a grand job to be up here in Grid A. His father is also racing this evening, and he's on Grid B, currently in 3rd place in their qualifying session. So the Knights still giving a good charge. So Daniel Taberner, again, we saw him last time out and we're going to see him again. Great to see him out here in his double blue machine. And yeah, he'll be looking to see what he can do. He was very proud to get into this session, as was Cole Bradbury a little bit further back. I don't think we saw him last time out, but he's running around here in his white car for this evening. So second round of the championship all to play for. And currently setting the time then, as we said, Donkin. But just as I say that, Harry Senior puts a lap that's good enough for 2nd place. That 45.335 is, I can promise you, is an exceptionally quick time in this 420R machine. Harry Senior 4/10 off, but that still holds his 2nd place with Christian Saruta into that 3rd place now. Tom McEwing, another person who got a podium position last time out and is sitting near the top of the championship, so he'll be seeing whether he can continue that performance. Another real world driver, and it'd be good to see him out in and about his car later on this season in the real world. So all these drivers that I'm saying are real world are often, well, lots of them are, as we see jumping over the curb, they're all heading off to Zandvoort, not this coming weekend, but the weekend following. And if you've never been there as a spectator, I can promise you it's worth the trip over. It's on the Zandvoort circuit. It's right on the coast, just north, as we see Steve McMaster lose the rear of that, get it back under control and avoid the car in front of him, which was Richard Watson, who was also sort of stationary in the car. That was a bit dramatic, wasn't it? But yeah, so it's right on the coast and it's a spectacular place to go and watch motor racing. And yeah, but I would highly recommend it. I'm just north of Amsterdam as well, so Amsterdam's not too far away near Schiphol Airport, so pretty convenient to gain access to it. And definitely a motorsport venue to add to the bucket list. So we watch here Alex Ball and his pink and orange coloured machinery. He heads out then, so he's finding himself currently in that 10th place. We see 10th place currently in just ahead of Richard Watson, who we saw in that grey car. Then comes Hudson Knight, Stephen Master, Ollie Ricks. Tom Willis is out here, Matt Shepherd, Skillicorn, and Paul Forsyth currently hiding in 18th place, as we see a new entry at the top of our, not right at the top, but in that 4th place. Jaroslav Cherny has joined us. He, again, great performance last time out. Right in the mix. Had a couple of sort of dropped down the order. Got caught up in a couple of incidents alongside Ryan Hooker as well, and had to fight his way back through. But still having a good fight back and still scoring good points to put himself near the top of the championship. So he'll be looking to see whether he can do anything about staying up there. Quick Grid B check-in, and Ryan Wilby is still at the top there. Jason Knight's managed to move up to 2nd, and Harvey Lawrence is in that 3rd place. So as they continue to race on through. David Rowe had a win, first race out, and it was a very comfortable win in the end, and it's good to see him back out here. He had a bit more of a tricky second race and missed out on that podium. Did have another driver that was fighting back through, but then had an incident. I think he had to retire to the pits, which scuppered his race evening somewhat. So he's going to find himself a bit further down the order. But we do run drop championship scores just like we do in the real world. So they can drop the 2 worst scores at the end of the season to count as they get the remaining 12 scores to count towards their championship total. Again, we do it in the virtual world just like we do in the real world to allow for people's real life to get in the way. You don't want to miss out on real life events and allow people to go and do other things if they have to. But a lot of these guys spend a lot of time in the simulator in these new Caterhams. The fantastic 420R modelled by Steve Arnell, who's hopefully going to be back with us racing in a round or two's time. He did a fantastic job at capturing the slick tyres and all the upgraded suspension and parts and extra speed that the 7 Championship UK spec of this 420R machine enables. And I know that these drivers really enjoy this car. As we head in then. So we got clocks run out, but the laps can complete. Let's stick with this group. It's a fast group. Christian Charuta just behind Ollie Ricks. He's catching up quick. I wonder whether that's going to balk his lap a little bit, but it is the last lap for everybody. David Rowe loses the rear, just a bit too much rear bias there, wasn't there? And that's put him out of the running. So let's catch back up with Christian Charuta and see whether he can do anything about Ollie Ricks. He can't. Ollie Ricks is still in front. He will have gained a bit of a tow. Ollie Ricks does pull to the side. In fact, he got a bit of gravel involved there. And Christian will get another tow potentially from, I think that's Tom excuse me. I think that's Tom Willis ahead. So he'll try and catch that tow, see whether he can do anything about it. So we'll watch Christian Charuta over the line, see whether he can move up from his current 3rd position. But at the moment, Paul Donkin with that 4/10 gap looks like he's got this sewn up for pole position in race 1 at least. And Harry Senior in that 2nd place. Great, he's been in pits for most of this qualifying session. But he's done enough to put it onto that front row, and we can see their real-world battle continue on. Can Christian do anything as he comes across the line? He does improve his time. It is his best, but it's not enough to see him up a position. So it's Paul Donkin then who takes that first position. Let's do a confirmation of those results then for you. So yeah, Paul Donkin taking pole position over Harry Senior, and then it's Charuta in the 3rd place. We've got Cherny in 4th. And then David Rowe rounding out the top 5. The queuing up there as well. So kind of the normal people would expect to see in that sort of top 6. Then we got Cole Bradbury. Great result for him in 7th place. Paul Ferniehoff moved himself up late in the race to 8th place. So great for him. Daniel Tarboner is in that 9th place, and Alex Ball comes home in 10th. We got Richard Watson and Matt Shepherd, Hudson Knight, Tom Willis. A bit far down for Tom Willis and Steve McMaster. We normally see them fighting near the front. Let's see whether they can make their way through. Ollie Ricks, Chris Skillicorn, Also, Chris Gillicorn, I think he'll be disappointed with where he finds himself. And Paul Forsyth maybe not quite able to do as much practice as maybe he would have wanted to coming into this this race then. But yeah, kind of expected the drivers that we've got up there in that top half of qualifying. And just like the real world, that will there dictate their grid positions for race number 1. Tarzan being the first turn they have to get into. And that's not going to be an easy task for them. It's sort of a full hairpin right, and it's going to be quite congested. In the pre-qualification sessions that we did yesterday, the gaps between all of our drivers were quite spectacularly close. So looking to see whether that's going to continue on as the drivers will get out onto the track. Let's go and join them out there. See down here, there's 18 cars all lined up then, ready to go for race 1 of tonight's action. See Paul Donkin there on the right of your screen with number 24 with the red car. It's got white liveries on it, and that's to differentiate from Jaroslav Czerny. You can see a bit further back in his red car with black roll cage. On the left of your screen, you can see Harry Senior taking up that second position. Grey car with a red stripe and a red roll cage down it. Christian Schureter in the kind of Braun-esque white with luminescence. And just ahead of, say, we've already covered Czerny. And then back behind Christian, you've got David Rowe in the black and white DPR with sort of lime green flashes car. And then we have got McEwing on the left-hand side, the sort of dark blue car with the green stripe down the middle. So we'll be looking to see how they get out. As far as who's going to win, it's really close to call, this one. We have seen various drivers, if they can get out in front and the squabbles start happening back, you do see gaps starting to sort of generate themselves. But Harry Senior, just as in the virtual world as with the real world, he's inserted himself right at the front of this grid. And last time we saw Harry Senior here at caterhamracer.com, he has been a previous champion, so good to have him back and on board and adding some extra competition at the front to these drivers. Christian Schureter, multiple champion there in the white car. Let's see whether he can do anything from third on the grid then as the lights come out for race number 3, round 2 of the caterhamracer.com 2024 Caterham season. And we're going to get underway as the lights go out and underway for 15 minutes then of racing action. Good start from our whole field, generally fairly even. Nobody's stall as they charge down towards us then into Tarzan. Paul Donkin making the best of that start, and it is As You Were. Czerny looking to see down the inside. He makes contact. That's going to spin him into the path of drivers behind. You can see the cars are having to scatter. They've done a good job to avoid him. That's put Czerny all the way down. He just lost the rear of the car, maybe on cold tyres. Didn't hold together, and everyone did very well to sort of avoid most of that melee. I wonder if anyone else got caught out quite badly. Cole Bradbury now back up into 6th place. What a start for him in his white machine there. He's just behind Tom McEwing then as they come down the hill. I see Hudson Knight just in the background there, also looking to see whether he can make a move. He's just in that yellow car as Paul Ferneyhouse looking down the inside in what is a pretty tricky overtaking manoeuvre. Shivlak down here, and he does make that stick. Is he going to be able to hold on as they head over the hill? He is. Great move then from Ferneyhoff to move himself up into 8th place. Out front, Harry Senior is trying to chase down Paul Donkin. You've got David Rowe making good early progress still in this race. Schureter just losing that one place to see him down 4th, but he was caught out in that sort of incident, so he'd be counting himself lucky that he's still firmly in this battle. Cole hanging on brilliantly behind Tom McEwing. You see this whole field then sweep down into Hanshurst, one of those overtaking opportunities I talked about before. We see a group piling down here. That's Ferneyhoff ahead of Hudson, ahead of Willis, just as they head round the right-hander and then into this left-hander. Willis in the aluminium sort of coloured car. Great to see him out at Snetterton in his 310R Machina and performing really well as well. So great to have him out with us various times throughout the real world season and back here in the virtual world as well. They head round then to complete that lap 1. We have got Paul Donkin with a fairly substantial gap. Paul Ferneyhoff and Hudson Knight haven't finished their battle. They're going side by side. As behind as well, we've got Richard Watson going side by side with Chris Gillicorn, who's made some good progress up from the back of the field. Paul Ferneyhoff is going to manage to hold on. Is he? Hudson Knight's just got his nose on the inside, but there was just enough room for Paul to sweep along. Cherney's back up to 13th after dropping nearly to the back of the field. I don't know whether he's going to sustain damage. I would suspect that his car's not going to be 100% correct. Skrillicorn, another driver to lose the rear of his car. He spins to the outside and makes contact with the inside barrier. So he's had a horrible start to this race. There was someone else off at the top of that hill. Was that Ollie Ricks? It is, and he's had to go back to the pits. That's the end of Ollie Ricks' first race. He'll be ready to start for race 2, though. He'll get that car fixed. Be back at the rear of the grid to start race 2 in just over 12 or 13 minutes time. 12 minutes of this race still to go for our leading drivers. Paul Donkin is giving a clean pair of heels, as he has done many times before. At the moment, is there anything that Harry Senior, 1.3 seconds back now, can do about that? Remember, he was 4/10 back in qualifying, and that kind of, it seems to be showing through into the race. David Rowe still holding firm against Christian Scheruter, and Tom McEwing still managing to hold off Cole Bradbury, who's up there and still well in that battle. In the virtual world, we get a sort of tow from the car in front at about half a second gap. So on the tower on the left, anytime you see a gap that's under that 0.5 seconds, you will be getting a tow from the driver in front, and therefore will be gaining lap time. You can see that David Rowe's firmly inside that lap time then, as he heads up into Tarzan. I don't think there's going to be anything he can do about it this time through. He is closing, and he's closer than he was at the previous time through. So let's see whether David Rowe can make that stick. And he's got Christian Scheruter, you can just see in the rear view panel there, just chasing along behind as they head through Gerlach into the Hugenholtz, this banked hairpin. Real world people have really sort of figured out how to use it, and you see Formula 1 cars using the Highline, and in fact you see club drivers using mostly the Highline as well, such as the banking, that it's just undoes all the sort of tight apex, and most people choosing to use that higher line. We watch David Rowe then chasing down Harry Senior. Anything he can do about that? He's looking down the inside here into that turn Mastersbocht. So again, a very unusual place to overtake, but he had such momentum down the hill. He's made that work, and he's through turn 9. Christian Scheruter seeing whether he can do anything about it as well. Harry looking go back at the inside. That might open it up on the exit for Christian Scheruter, who's got a great run. He's going to have a spectacular run down the hill as he comes here. He pulls out beside Harry Senior. David Rowe's going to act as a blocker in front, though. It might mean that he can't do anything about it. He's late on the brakes. He's going to leave just enough cars room. He's made it stick. Harry's still on his outside there for spectacular racing. But I think Christian Scheruter has just about managed it, although Harry's going to fight back through now through Kumo, the right-hander. He's alongside, so he's going to have the upper hand as they go out then into the start of the start-finish straight. But the tie line works nicely with the banking. Christian Scheruter's going to tip into the slipstream and see whether there's anything he can do. He does use a little bit of a super boost, gets alongside up the inside then as they're heading to Tarzan. I think that is going to be a position made, but it's taken him 4 corners, and now it's Tom McEwing seeing whether he can do anything about the 2 cars in front of him, which he can't. They go side by side through Tarzan, the first corner, and it is Christian Scheruter who does manage to shuffle Harry Senior then back through. Great racing all round, seeing whether Tom McEwing can get involved. Cole's just lost the rear of Tom McEwing just for the time being, and we'll be watching to see whether any opportunities arise right in front of him. Alex Ball coming into play, though. He's going to be Cole's going to be looking in his rearview mirror. You can see the pink and orange car of Alex Ball arriving, and Hudson Knight's not too far behind, and Paul Ferneyhoff has lost that position to Hudson Knight over the last couple of laps. Harry Senior looking down the inside. Christian does run wide. We saw that a couple of times, didn't we? We saw it in our practice lap where I was trying to get an on-board lap. He drifted wide around a couple of those apexes. Not told him. He's going to go onto the grass this time. That's going to put Harry Senior. He's really under pressure from Harry Senior. Sees him off onto the grass. He's going to drop behind Cole now as he rejoins back on the track. He's got it all to do once more. We saw that last time out as well. He's not having it all his own way this season. He's having to work hard, and now Tom McEwing finds himself in that 4th place. He's just off the podium then for this opening round. But it is still Donkin 3 seconds down in the lead. I think we can successfully say, unless he has any particular issues, he is disappearing off down the road ahead of David Rowe. And then it's Harry Senior, Tom McEwing, Cole Bradbury, Christian Scheruter, Alex Ball and Hudson, Paul Ferneyhoff and Tom Willis rounding out your top 10. Let's have a quick Grid B check-in. And it is Ryan Wilby currently winning that race over the top of Nick Platts, Adam Whitehouse. Where has Jason Knight gone? He's found himself in 6th Also, Harvey Lawrence down in 10th, so they've not had a great start to their Grid B battles, but currently Ryan will be enjoying that. Another driver we saw at Snetterton doing very nicely. Thank you. Let's check in on that midfield battle then. There is Paul Ferniehoff just behind Hudson Knight now. Tom Willis behind him. It's all spreading out a little bit, but I saw in the background Tarboner's just on the rear panel of Richard Watson in the grey machinery. So seeing whether he can do anything about that to move up from the 13th place that he currently finds himself in. Skillicorn, after that brush with the barrier, still got the car pointing in the right direction, but not making forward progress. Not a night to remember for him so far. Paul Forsyth, Matt Shepherd, also another driver who's behind where he would expect to be, and McMaster disappointing there in that 17th place. I'm sure he expects more of himself, but great to have him back racing with us after an absence, and it's fantastic to see him back here on the service. Let's go back to that race battle at the front then, with David Rowe still heading, Harry Senior, Tom McEwing still in that 4th place. Christian Sharita now ahead of Alex Ball back into 5th place. So he is making progress through past Bradbury and Ball in fairly quick time. I'm guessing that's just not putting up too much fight, knowing that their battle probably isn't with Christian tonight. Jacob Yates on the chat, just looking for Rixie. Unfortunately, he is back out on track, so he has managed to get his car repaired and back up and running, but he is in that 18th place. He, like I say, will be waiting for that race 2 to start. Only got just under 6 minutes to go of this race before he can get fully back involved in the battle. Side by side, I saw in the background again between this battle pack of this been stuck together the whole race. Hudson Knight, our youngest racer on this service. Paul Ferniehoff, one of our more mature racers, and absolutely holding his own though, back in front of Hudson Knight. They are going backwards and forwards all the time, and it's Tom Willis looking to see whether he can do anything. Cherney on his fight back after that turn 1 issue, guessing his car really isn't feeling that particularly well, as he's not making super progress, and it's to be expected when you hit a wall on the opening lap, and then other cars do pile in as well. The margins, you can see the margins the drivers cut down is just absolutely zero. The Hudson has got millimetres between his car. He's got the rear end stepping out. Tom Willis seeing whether he can do anything about it. This battle is brilliant. So we're spread out a little bit at the front of the race. It is fantastic to watch this midfield battle, and how close all the drivers still are. Say all the pre-qualifying times and qualifying times today were so tight together that it's not surprising as Willis just dropped a wheel onto the gravel and grass there. And will lose momentum because of it. And Hudson looking to see whether he can line Paul Ferniehoff up once more. Late on the brakes though for Paul Ferniehoff. Does collect the apex. Swoops it left. A bit of a rear letting go. Little screech of the tyres as they just crying enough. But he just about had enough to hold on again. To that front battle then. It's only 0.1 of a second now. Harry Senior right on the rear panel of David Rowe as they head over the start-finish line. Going to see whether he can get across. He didn't get over the top of him before the start-finish line, and that's important for the last lap of this race to see whether the toe is enough. David Rowe still keeping his nose right on the inside. Careful of that inside wall. We've seen cars. He's lost the rear of the car. He's going to step to the inside. Disaster for David Rowe. Was trying to keep it under. He kept his foot in when maybe he should have had a little bit of could have just eased off. He's got a really difficult rejoin to do now as well. He can't see the cars. He is stuck. He has drifted all the way to the back of this field, just joining in front of Paul Forsyth. What a shame. And there's Matt Shepherd as well. We haven't seen him in his yellow machinery, just ahead of Steve McMaster. So David Rowe finds himself right at the back of that field again, with all to do. He's got a long way to go in race 2. That leaves Harry Senior in his own little bubble. He's a comfortable bubble now ahead of Tom McEwing, who has just kept his nose clean and kept out of the way of all these people in front. He's just got to looker in his rearview mirrors to see whether Christian Sharita is going to have enough time with 3 minutes left. We're talking 2 laps, aren't we? So they'll get across for this lap, and then they will be close to whether they get another one. Let's see when Paul Donkin crosses the line. Remember, a lap is 1:45, so it should be this lap and then 2 more before we get to the conclusion of this race. Still overtaking opportunities then, still time for things to change around. Paul Ferneyhoff now is losing out to David Rowe. There's got the orange car there of Paul Forsyth just sideways. David Rowe does make quick meal of Paul, so he didn't make any contact, did he? So he's still got the speed in that car, and he really does need to make progress in this race. Obviously, the finishing position of this race is the start position of the next, so any position he makes up now is a grid position. So he'll be absolutely as flat out as he can be. Watching back up the excuse me, back up the field, Cherney has made good progress in the mid part of this race, sort of unwatched by me, but has kept his nose clean. Obviously, his car was still all just about okay, and he finds himself in 7th, and that's a great position for him to be starting race 2 after race 1 disaster for him in turn 1. It is 2 minutes to go, so I think we should just about get around for this lap and then the following lap, as we've got Alex Ball right on the rear panel now of Cole Bradbury in that white car. He has been holding on in there, hasn't he? Holding place, and patiently Alex has just reeled him in 10th by 10th, corner by corner, and he is now right there in the rear view panel. That's not going to be a very comfortable place for Cole to be. He can't make it happen in the right-hander here, but he is going to see whether turn 9 and turn 10 have any luck. Turn 9 doesn't hold anything for him. He's got one more lap, and this one he's on, so he's still got time to make it. Cole Bradbury tight on the line this time. We saw last time through that gave Christian Scheruter a run on the car in front, and that's also going to mean that Alex does have a slight run. It was Harry Senior Christian Scheruter was overtaking in that kind of mirror image of this battle, but at the moment he's not got enough. Cole late enough on the brakes to be able to defend. Has he got everything under control for the left-hander? Yes, just drifts slightly away from the curb, but nothing too untoward, as he will head then onto this front straight for the final time over the line before the finish. He will hold on at the moment, so 48 seconds on the clock. We are coming in then to the last lap. Alex Ball's got this one and the next one over the line to see whether he can do anything about it. Christian Scheruter still closing in on Tom McEwing just in front, but at the moment not making quite the impact, and this is the closest battle other than further back. I saw Tom Willis going side by side. In fact, it wasn't Tom Willis, it was Richard Watson going side by side with Tarbonet, and it's going to be Tarbonet out. We had that's Ollie. Oh no, we just cut away from him. Daniel spun at turn 1. Alex, I think there must have been contact because Alex is waiting for him. There's a rule on our service where if you do make contact and cause the driver to spin, you must wait for them. It's to really make people avoid those contacts. So both of their races upset and ruined by that corner. That's going to put Tom McEwing up into that 3rd place. He's been patient, and it looks like that is going to pay off for him. He's just ahead of Christian Scheruter. Cherney all the way up to 5th place. What a recovery drive. We've seen plenty of recovery drives from him in the past, but that is spectacular stuff. Well done, Cherney, to get up there. Watched any of this man out front though, have we? So we got used to seeing this all last season and seeing it more this season now as well. And he's back in this 420R after the 270 we were in last week. Last time out. He's back in his 420, which he's absolutely loving, and you can see why. We will come back to him. We'll keep an eye on this final podium position, and also if there's any other battles further back. But we're seeing changes happening all over the place in this midfield. Someone else, I think, spinning out. Maybe that was Paul Ferneyhoff dropping down the order, so keeping an eye, or someone has dropped down. You can see there's an absolute squabble of cars, but I'm going to have to go back to the lead. We'll come back to them as we do see Donkin coming over the line then to take the win, and he is going to comfortably take that over Harry Senior. What a great start to his championship this year in the real world and in the virtual world. Then we've got McEwing and Scheruter. Where is this pack coming? So we're watching for it around the last corner. You can see them all coming up here then, fighting towards the line. In fact, that's not the pack. That's Bradbury and Watson going side by side, and it was Watson, I think, just making it. It did make it over the line first. Then we've got Hudson Knight. There's that battle pack I was talking about, headed by David Rowe, is it? No, Paul Ferneyhoff is going to take it over Rowe. And then behind them, that was an absolute side by side for Shepherd, Ball, Bradbury, McMaster. And we're just waiting for, McMaster and Forsyth to come across the line now. Ollie Ricks, we know, is also trailing them. So what a opening race. Fantastic by all our drivers. Let's go and confirm that result for you then. So race 1 winner was Paul Donkin, comfortably 6 seconds out the lead over Harry Senior, who also had a few seconds over Tom McEwing in that 3rd place. Scheruter comes home in 4th place, right on his tail. Cherney fights all the way back to 5th place. And then we've got Tom Willis in that 6th. Richard Watson, Daniel Tarbiner coming across absolutely side by side. Just 1,000th of a second between those two as they went across the line. Incredibly tight there, but it was given in the direction of Watson. And Chris Skillicorn, Hudson Knight rounds out our top 10. And then we have Paul Ferniehoff, David Rowe, Matt Shepherd, Alex Ball, Cole Bradbury, McMaster Forsyth and Ollie Ricks making up the full field of 18. Let's have a race 1, see if I can get the race result then from B grid. It's not available for me yet, so I can't see that right now. We'll keep an eye out to see when that does pop up. But Paul Donkin doing what Paul Donkin does and disappearing off the road, but not as far ahead as we sometimes see. And he had Harry Senior was there or thereabouts for quite a lot of that race, and he'll be certainly seeing whether he can do anything about that going into the race number 2. So this order that you're seeing on the screen is the starting order then for race number 2. Another 15 minutes race, so any damage that you've picked up in that one, it will clear off, and you'll be allowed and set free to go at it once more. Again, Christian Chiruta finding himself in 4th place. Tom McEwing finding himself in another 3rd place. He did it last week by just keeping clean, keeping out of the way, keeping fast but consistent rather than the ultimate lap pace. And Cherney doing what Cherney does, which is recovering all the way through to find himself in 5th. Still waiting to see whether the race result for B grid has come through now. So Ryan Wilby took the opening B grid race. Nick Platts came home in 2nd and Adam Whitehouse in 3rd place. So congratulations to them. And Jason Knight ended in 6th. Rain Henstra, all the way from the back of the grid, came through into 5th place. Will Rayson in 4th. So well done to all of those drivers. They'll be looking forward to a few DNFs at the back of the field, which we'll see about next. See whether the stories, we'll all hear the stories, no doubt, as we watch for our cars. Going to come back to the grid very shortly. In fact, they're out there now, so let's go and join them back here for race 2 then of race 2 of this, the second championship event for our 2024 Caterham Championship. Paul Donkin and Harry Senior. Where have we seen this before? Well, we saw it at the start of the last race. And indeed, we saw Chiruta on the 2nd row, but actually up in that 3rd place. So he's dropped a place overall. And McEwing came all the way through from 6th to now finish in 3rd place. So he made the most progress. Seeing a gap on the field there. And it's one of our drivers. I'm not sure who that is missing, but I can see Cherney on the grid. So he is there. And I can see behind him, we can see Daniel Tarbiner in his blue, sort of half and half blue machine. See Hudson behind them, so just missing one of our drivers up front. I'm sure there'll be, I think it's Tom Willis, isn't it? Yeah, Tom Willis will be missing, so we're waiting for him to see whether he can rejoin. Hopefully not had a server issue, but we'll wait to see whether he can. Can Paul Donkin make it 2 from 2 then and put himself in a strong championship position? Harry Senior, can he make that? Can he cling on longer than this time? And can Chiruta and Cherney maybe not have the issues as the field get themselves ready then. Another 15 minutes of racing action. So in the early part of this season, remember we do drop scores, so David Rowe, we'll see whether he can fight through from his starting position down in, I think, 11th place as the lights come up then, as we get set to step this second race. One more time then through Tarzan. Can Cherney get through facing the right direction? We've got 6 lights which are all coming on, and when they go off, we will be off and racing then for race number 2, which we are now. Great start from Paul Donkin off the line there. Cherney bogs down a little bit. The rest of the field flow on through. Nobody stalling. Everyone managing to make it through. Christian Chiruta looking up the inside of Tom McEwing as they dive into turn 1. McEwing, though, is going to carry that speed and momentum around the outside, although Chiruta holds that inside line, got his tyres up and running nice and quick. So Harry Senior does hold on to the 2nd place. Donkin just making a gap for it already as the field flow through. Let's keep an eye on this as they all head in. There's David Rowe deep in the action there, currently in 10th place, making up 1 space off of the opening. Matt Shepherd still in it. Cole Bradbury, after that brilliant first race, finding himself with lots of cars in front of him, more cars than he saw all the last time, as we watched Skillicorn after his incident with the barrier. He's got Hudson Knight, Matt Shepherd back off the circuit again in an awkward place. Does manage to rejoin, I can see just in the background. And again, I think everyone avoided him, but that's going to be uncomfortable as we see the lead group going down. Led by Donkin, and Harry Senior still in that second place, seeing whether he can do anything to hold on. There's this battle pack. Hudson Knight ahead of David Rowe, ahead of Chris Skillicorn. Paul Ferniehoff in there, Alex Ball behind. David Rowe jinking and jiving everywhere to see whether he's got any gap at all that he can insert that DPR Motorsport machinery. And at the moment, he hasn't found that gap. As we watch this lead group then back down and through. McEwing just losing out at the floor in fourth place, just lost that one place to Christian Saruta on the opening few corners. Saruta's still firmly in that battle, and Harry Senior's managed to keep within that, or just within that half-second gap, which he needs to be in order to get that toe as they head then back over the line for lap 1 complete of race 2. Journey, this lead pack of 5 is still very much battling together. A little bit back, we've got Tarbana side by side with Watson, and just behind them we've got Chris Skillicorn, all involved in that battle. David Rowe, Paul Ferniehoff and Alex Ball going side by side just behind Hudson Knight. Can they get that all stopped? We watch them coming through. Hudson Knight's made it through. However, the rest, they're still 3 wide. David Rowe well off wide off the track, manages to shove it down the inside again. I'm just watching this battle behind with interest. David Rowe just manages to hold on. Made it through a gap that really wasn't Caterham size there at the moment. Paul Ferniehoff giving way. Alex Ball losing the rear of that car. It's going to lose the momentum all the way down this back straight. He's going to have another run. Make this move that we did see happen in the last race. A little bit of a nudge there. There's really not very much room as they go through these sweepers. David Rowe has shoved his car up the inside though. He is going to make it through on the inside there. He is making early progress, but he's having to do it in unusual and unnatural ways, but so far he's made it stick. Alex Ball looking to see whether he can make it back. He hasn't managed to just yet, although his car's still just about alongside. He dives late on the brakes. They're going side by side. David Rowe just takes that wide line, gives that car gap, and will still be the inside driver for a left-hander. But we've seen that also means that you lose a bit of speed and momentum down this next straight. See the battle in front equally as involved as well, but this midfield is really complicated stuff going on at the moment. They're all managing it nicely, certainly from the outside. It looks hectic, doesn't it? Matt Shepherd diving down the inside of Bradbury that time, making a position up as they went into the chicane. Alex Ball with some speed that he had nowhere to go because we had a DPR car in the way. If that settles itself down, I say that, still side by side between Shepherd and Bradbury there as they went on, as we head over then to complete lap 2. What a breathless lap that was, and we have still got a lead battle going on. In fact, it's Saruta and Harry Senior side by side. Donkin has disappeared, checked out, gone off. He probably will be seen next at the checkered flag. Let's wait and see. Side by side though for second place between Saruta and Harry Senior. There's Saruta's got the inside now, and that should mean that he does carry that momentum around the corner. Still got a tire tucked up the inside, but overall he's going to win that little battle. He's going to want to sort of bunch them all back up to get McEwing back involved to try to make Senior have to look in his mirrors. And certainly McEwing's catching up fast along with Cherney. Just behind there, Richard Watson on another great performance for him in this grey machinery. Up here on grid A. Watch them then. It's settled in a little bit. Donkin checked out. There comes Saruta next up. Harry Senior just losing that place though. He is still firmly in that battle. McEwing, Cherney, and then not behind then it was Richard Watson, Tarbana and Skillicorn. Skillicorn having a much better second race, isn't he? Let's have a check in with that chase group. There is Skillicorn. He's just leading that chase group now, which involves now Hudson Knight right on his tail. David Rowe with contact between Ferniehoff and I think that was Alex Ball, and that's means that they're spinning and halfway through the track, and again Ferniehoff letting Ball get back up in the space of the race. They've got a bit of a recovery drive. 10 minutes to see whether they can get themselves back off the rear of this field. Such is the speed of the field that was enough to send them tumbling behind. It's not always the case, but they will have 10 minutes still to recover back through, and let's see how they can make that progress. Harry Senior now is the opposite of what we saw last time, tucked up nicely behind Christian Saruta. As we go on board, we pull alongside, and we've got a bit of a super boost from that toe, and he does manage to pull ahead. Saruta seeing whether he can get that toe back, under late on the brakes, tucking down the inside. There might have been a little bit of contact. See rears of Saruta's car just stepping out just a touch there as he was as late on the brakes as you can possibly be. The front of the car and absolutely dive bombed as he was as hard as you can get onto the brakes with the uprated suspension and slick tyres working as hard as they could. Didn't lock up though, and there was if there was minor contact, it didn't seem to upset Senior's car too much. Tarbiner making good progress now over the top of that group in front of him. I think with all that kerfuffle before, maybe that's allowed him to scoot away into that sort of gap, and it is now this chase battle is moving itself higher up that top 10 then, as we saw Ferneyhoff and Ball slip down to the bottom of the field. And Ollie Ricks for the check-in is now in 11th place, so having a much better race than race 1, that's for sure. He is finding it out with Forsyth now in that 11th and 12th place, but he's got Master, Matt Shepherd, Alex Ball, Paul Ferneyhoff. Cole Bradbury has dropped out. I didn't see where that happened. That's another reason the other drivers moved up. I can see Tom Willis also moving up. But there's good to see some people in the chat as well, and also looking forward to watching people do it in real life. So yeah, the drivers checking in all the action, seeing some tips that they can pick up from the virtual world and seeing how they can actually use that to their advantage in the real world. Christian Scheruter and Harry Senior continue their battle side by side once more. They've been side by side every time we've gone up here. Christian Scheruter now holds that inside line, and he just needs to brake late enough to hold it. He does that, and Cherney behind has overcome McEwing, so Cherney has made that position up, and he now finds himself in that battle for second. The battle for second is now 3 cars wide, and will be probably for the remainder of this race. Christian Scheruter again slightly wide out the corners, but that does it's almost a defensive manoeuvre, that slightly wide, missing the apex. It may reduce your speed as Harry Senior just tapped the rear of Christian Scheruter's car. Look to see whether he could do the switchback. Again, that's a wily move and scary. That is an incredibly fast part of this circuit. In real world, we're doing something along the lines of 130 miles an hour up into that sequence over bumps, and it's difficult to see as much as anything. And he was looking to see whether he could do a switchback manoeuvre. Didn't quite work out that time, but certainly would have had Christian looking in his mirrors. Tom McEwing now makes that second battle at 4 wide as we head in then to the second half of this race. 6 minutes left to go on the clock. Tarbiner, Watson, Skillicorn, and then Hudson Knight. David Rowe, where's he dropped away to? Is he still dropped away a little bit from Hudson Knight, hasn't he? So he was right up close. I wonder whether he tried for a move and it didn't quite pay off, but he's finds himself in 10th place, but it's still probably an event that he'll be looking to see whether he can drop, as we have a check-in on Alex Ball and Paul Ferneyhoff. Alex Ball chasing that group. He has made the junction to the group in front. Matt Shepherd, see there in his yellow machinery, just following on ahead of Forsyth, doing a good job. Forsyth finishing race 1 and now finding himself firmly in the battle, just behind McMaster as well, who's making slow and steady progress up into 11th place, just outside that top 10 then. And we've got another change then up front. Cherney has made his way. Sorry, I missed the overtake there as they went over the line this time. Cherney found himself in front of Harry Senior. So Harry Senior has again dropped a couple of positions, and he drops one of his tyres. A little of a lock-up, left it squirrely, meant that he lost a load of momentum. He was sideways around that banked hairpin, and finds himself now down a little bit further. So unfortunate for Harry Senior, he's lost a couple of positions, and he'll get that all back under control then. I'm sure we'll be fighting to get back on the tail of the red machine. You can see there who is Cherney. Grid B check-in for race number 2 then. Had a few DNFs it looks like, but Ryan Wilby currently finds himself ahead of Nick Platz, who's in 2nd place. They've got a great battle there, just nose to tail. And then Rainer Hestra is in 3rd place, ahead of Harry Lawrence, who's also fought well back from about 8th or so on that grid. David Walker in 5th for his first ever race with us. Good stuff going on Grid B as well, as we continue to watch this battle. They're locked up. McEwing just avoided the back of Harry Senior's car then. He would have been braced for impact in his rearview mirrors, but did manage to get it all stopped. Changes going on in that chase group then. Alex Ball made his way past Matt Shepherd and also Forsyth, so he is making that progress up. Next on his shopping list is Steve McMaster. You can see him in his blue machinery there. been fantastic second race this, hasn't it? There's been action wherever we have looked. And the action continues as this lead group of cars is getting longer. It's got a little bit spread out. So Harry Senior losing the rear of that car again. Using all of his car control. Does drift off wide, but that will not cost him too much. But he was fully locked up on the rear of that car as he went into the hairpin that time. Tarzan for however many. I lost laps. So that was the completion of his 7th lap. So into lap 8. Almost got dizzy going around that hairpin that time through as his car refused to give him the grip he was asking and stepped out. But keeps it all pointing in the right direction. And we have more changes going on. Alex Ball still fighting away. Hudson Knight is made up a couple of places there. I'm not sure where that comes from, but he's in 9th place as Steve McMaster does now find himself into that 10th place. And we have Alex Ball chasing hard with Forsyth right on his tail in that orange machine. Then we've got Matt Shepherd, Paul Ferniehoff not making quite the progress that Alex Ball was. Maybe a little bit sheepish after the contact. We didn't quite see what happened, but certainly by the looks of the recovery. So Alex Ball loses the rear this time. It does look like Paul Ferniehoff may have made that contact, which cost them both so dear. Harry Senior now trying to stop the rot. He's just in front. We saw the rear of his car, whether his tyres are overheating. At this stage, the Avon slick tyres that the 7 Championship UK Spec car runs on. It's a second race as well for the tyres, so they may be feeling a little bit more tired and on edge. He's absolutely on the ragged edge. He'll be looking to get this all under control by the time he heads here for real. That would be a scary little bit of gravelly moment there. Tom McEwing, though, has a run for us. They head over the start-finish line. You can see the momentum, and he sweeps by into the lead over the top well before the braking zone. So you just have to make sure he is tucked on the inside, which he does. And Harry Senior is going to drop another place. And he's got Turboner in his rearview mirror. So he's really going to be wanting to stop that rot now. Because it's not far behind Watson and then Chris Skillicon. All looking to see whether they can do anything about their race. Oh, we've got Alex Ball and we've got more contact. It looks like him and Matt Shepherd made some contact there. Uncertain again what happened. But Alex Ball's had another race that he's not going to be too pleased about. Matt Shepherd joining, you can see in the background again. Spread out at the top 3, but we've got that battle for the 4th place to still savour as we head with 1 minute 40 seconds. So it's going to be this lap and the next one before we see the checkered flag. Tarbana, another fantastic race for him up there. Consistently top 6. Watson just dropping a position there back down for, I think, losing out to Tarbana. But again, very solid set of results, looking like a steady pair of hands. And over the course of the championship season, that's kind of what you're looking for. They'll see you good in the end. Side by side for our battle for 4th, though, as they head down into Hanshurst chicane. Then side by side, late on the brakes. Harry round the outside, manages to make it stick. So the outside line turns to the inside. And that was a sort of Senior move, that was, wasn't it? It was definitely well thought through and worked out nicely. So he gathers that pace back. We've seen him moving forward now rather than slightly backwards. You'll be pleased to see that, I am sure. Yeah, it's Ollie Ricks just chasing on behind Alex Ball now, and just in front you can see that Forsyth McMaster battle which has been going on the whole race through, as our leader is now on his final lap. So what can I say, as we see McMaster just diving out the slipstream. It's look like what's amazing. In fact, we've got something happen at the front there. I missed what went on. Was that a move? In fact, it's Harry Senior. It's Harry Senior and Tom still continuing to go side by side. They've hardly been apart this whole race. We will keep an eye on that as I see more changing happening further down. Grid B, quick check-in before on their final lap. Ryan Wilby still leads Rain de Hestra. Nick Platts, Harvey Lawrence in 4th. Adam Whitehouse, David Walker in 6th. So we will conclude that race soon, no doubt. But let's get this race 2 for the A grid over the line. We will quickly check in on Duncan. His car is still definitely there in 1st place, so we'll see him over the line shortly. Christian Sharuta in a nice comfortable 2nd place. Then it's Cherney in his comfortable 3rd, and then this fight for 4th place between Senior and McEwing. Who is going to come across the line then this time through, taking that 4th place? Certainly not clear at the moment. As we head down then into the chicane. Very defensive line by Cena this time. Can the outside line work for McEwing? No. Cena did lock up, but it's not going to give McEwing's car anywhere to go. He's trying everything he can. We're going to have to check out, though, to watch our leader as he comes around the final corner of the lap. We will try and keep an eye in the background then for that battle as he comes over. But Donkin makes it 2 from 2. And dominant performance here at Zandvoort. He'll be seeing whether he can take that through to the real world. Christian Scheruter fights his way back from 4th up. Cherney takes that final position. Great fight back after race 1. And it is Harry Senior who takes it over McEwing. Then Tarboner, Watson, and then it's Skillicorn as well. So Hudson came over and then Skillicorn. So Skillicorn also recovering what was a disappointing first half. McMaster does make it to the top 10. Forsyth just outside it after a consistent race. Alex Ball fights his way back over the top of Ollie Ricks just as they cross the line. Bit of a spin there for Paul Ferdinand out the line. He's going to cross backwards. He loses out to... I'm not sure whether he was weaving in delight or some other thing, but we caught it all, Paul. Well done. You were on stream. Hello to all your friends and family watching. David Rowe, though, back in 16th and Cole Bradbury at DNF at the back there. So let's get confirmation of that race result for you. Paul Donkin comes home in the first place. 7.5 seconds this time to the good over Christian Scheruter. Solid second place for him, and I'm sure he'd be pleased with that. Cherney in 3rd place. Harry Senior just making the best over the top of Tom McEwing, stopping the rot in 4th place. Then we got Daniel Tarboner, Watson, Hudson Knight, Chris Gillicorn and Steve McMaster making up our top 10. And then we have Forsyth, Ball, Ricks, Shepherd, Ferniehoff we saw going over the line backwards before we then get David Rowe, another night for him to forget, isn't it? All the way back up to what looked like the lead group, and then something happened which we didn't catch, and he's back down at 16th. Cole Brodry, disappointing end for his second race. But he'll be back in the next time out here at Silverstone. He'll be here with Tom Willis also finding himself way down the results. Ooh, so a breathless evening then. Let's see whether we can get any of our drivers as we just going to go into the pit lane and see whether we've got any of our drivers available for a bit of a chat. So race 1, let's go in reverse order, shall we, and try and get hold of all of our drivers, see whether anyone's there. Yaroslav, have you got me in the commentary box?
I do.
Hey, it's great to hear from you, and what a fight back after what was a bit of a disastrous race 1, but did make positions up, and then wow, what a race 2.
Yeah, indeed. Race 1 was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second one was just unfortunate. Yeah, we collided a little bit, and I think I got the wall and completed around. It's
what it looked like. There's a little bit of a wall that sort of is horrible in the sim world there, isn't it? Just spun it around, and then you got collected as well. But did well to come through, and an exciting race 2 to sort of solidify, get a 3rd place in the board and some points.
Yeah, it was a good practice for race 2, definitely. It was nice fighting back up, so that was really good. And everyone was really fast at the front. It was just nuts.
Yeah, it is crazy. The speed of you guys at the front is there's really nothing left out there. It's 100% used every single lap.
Yeah, one has to watch out for the cars in front because there are always some collisions, some cars on the road, and in the fighting it's very easy to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so close. It's so close. Good to see you out there, and hopefully we'll see you out next time at Silverstone.
Oh, thank you for organizing and good racing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's have a word with other 3rd place driver, see whether Tom McEwing has got us in the commentary box. Tom, have you got us? I can see your light flashing. I haven't heard you yet. Give it a... Yeah, I can still see it flashing. I don't know why I can't hear. If not, I'll speak on your behalf and say it was a breathless first race. You're pleased to get through to 3rd place. And in the second race, just missing out by just a touch to Cherney, but Harry Senior. But what a great race. I'm going to have to leave it at there. Oh, hang on, Tom. There you are.
Sorry, Chris.
There you are. Did I summarise it all right?
You did, yeah. There were some intense races. Really enjoyable, though.
Yeah, it looked really fast, frantic, fraught. There was millimetres between you all, and mostly it came out pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Paul was off in the distance, but obviously the boys at the front, I was probably a couple of tenths off their pace, but obviously, you know, when they battle, and they like to battle, that there's a few opportunities presented themselves, especially in the first race, so that worked out well. Second race, again, similar story really. I was hoping that they cause a bit more chaos, which didn't quite happen. And then I was up behind Harry, and I thought, you know, I'll let him go, let him catch up with the two in front, but he just didn't seem to have the pace in that final race. And if I'd given myself a bit more of a go at it.
Yeah, tense between you all, and it just meant that it wasn't quite enough to catch the gap that was there, was it? So but
really
still,
good fun though. Really
solid points again, and ready for the next one at Silverstone.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Great stuff. We'll speak to you then.
Cheers, Chris.
All right, let's try and speak to Harry Senior. I can see he is on. Harry, have you got us in the commentary box, Harry?
How's it going?
Yeah, so welcome to the grid again. Welcome back. Good to see you. And you inserted yourself right up there. And what a set of races. I mean, disappointing, I'm sure, to lose out in that second race, but it was still pretty good stuff to watch.
Yeah, I made a few mistakes. It's been a while since I properly pushed on Assetto Corsa, so I've got plenty of excuses if you want them.
As a racing driver, I wouldn't expect anything less.
It was a great fun. Good to be back. Yeah, I mean, last few years you guys mostly follow the official calendar, which doesn't really line up with what I've been doing. But back with in 420s now, so I need to learn Zandvoort. I've never been, why not? Thought I'd jump in. What
a spectacular circuit, and we should mention that, you know, what a entry into the 7 Championship UK in the real world, and more of that, please.
It was good fun. I was faster than I thought I would be, so very pleased with that.
That's great. Well, it shows that there's a good foundation there, and like I say, you'll have a lot of fun at Zandvoort, I'm sure.
I hope so.
All right, well, see you next time at Silverstone.
Yeah.
All right then, and let's see whether we can get Christian before. In fact, Christian I can't see online, so we'll go straight to our double winner, Paul Donkin. Have you got us in the commentary box?
Hi, Chris. I have indeed.
Excellent stuff, man. So back to old school. You're running off into the distance and having a play with yourself.
Yeah, but I really get along with this model. Obviously, credit to Steve for making it. Obviously, I drive it in real life, so I haven't really got an excuse. But really enjoyable. If only it was that easy in real life, like I said in the past. But it was good.
Yeah, no such luck. The action at Snetterton in real world was fast, frantic, and as you would expect for a championship of that ilks. And you must be fairly happy with that, and fairly happy with tonight.
Yeah, on both accounts. Obviously on the sim, I think to get the toe, the gap's like 0.4. As long as you're clear of that, you're all good. But obviously in real life, you know yourself, Chris, I don't know what it is, a second, 2 seconds. So your clean air paint counts for very little.
Probably even more than that for a little bit, yeah. And Zandvoort is certainly a toe track, but there is a bit of technical, which normally spreads people out a little bit. So maybe you can get rid of some of your protagonists.
Yeah, we'll see. We've got a few a new enthusiastic guys, shall we say, but we'll see how we get on. I mean, it went well last year, so there's no reason why we shouldn't go all right. So let's see how we get on. But it's not long next week. Very excited for it.
Time for the beach.
Yeah, are you joining us?
I can't make it this time, but it's one of my favourite places in the world after a couple of double wins there. So I'm really happy whenever I'm in that area of the track. And steak frite on the beachfront when the sun's going down is hard to beat.
That's it. Well, you will be missed, mate, but I'll do my best for you. All right.
I'll be watching.
Cheers. Thank you, Chris.
There you go. We've heard from our podium, other than Sharita, who has disappeared off, so we can't speak to him. I'm sure he had fun in that second race, certainly looked like it. So, we mentioned the real world is... I'll pop up this confusing list of real world races. You'll see on the right-hand side, the next time we're going to see the Road Sport 270s and 310s is actually at Silverstone Grand Prix on the 15th, 16th of June. But before that, if you look top left, you'll see that the Academy are out on track on the 18th of May for their first ever race on a circuit. So that's at Croft. So we will be watching to see how well they all do up there at Croft. And then in the 420s that we've just been watching in our virtual world, the real world, they're out on track with the British GT Championship at Donington Park GP, supporting the British GTs on 25th, 26th of May. So do get along to any of those events. Let's for our virtual season, you can see that the next event is the Silverstone Grand Prix track in the Caterham 310R, the first outing for that car this season for us, and we'll be taking part on the 5th of June, so do set your calendars for then, seeing who can make the best of that. All that's left for me to do tonight is to say the caterhamracer.com 2024 Caterham Championship is sponsored by 1-to-1 on-track coaching and simulator training with Ryan Hooker, and by DPR Motorsport, your competitive advantage. Thanks to all our drivers. Thanks for all the watching. We will see you next time out.